Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. Welcome to Talking in Ovals. Here we are, episode 185. If you can look to my partner here, he is not there. Alex is not feeling well today, so we are absolutely thrilled to have Lyle Smith step in and give us a hand because Lord knows you don't want to hear me do the show by myself. Lyle, how's it going?
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. It is an honor and a privilege to sit in here. I'm sorry Alex isn't here, but I was happy you gave me a ring to fill in.
Listen, I think your presence on the show with the guest that we have today is only fitting, and I'm looking forward to a great show. But before we get to that, guys, last week we had on Corey Anand and Bakari Tice. They are NJ High School track and field and XC reporters for NJ.com. They do an amazing job covering this sport, and we just talked about everything that happened winter season. We hit on a little XC, and we looked forward to what's coming up in the spring season here in the state of New Jersey. It was a great show. They are two young, ambitious reporters who seem to have a great rapport with the coaches and the athletes, and I look for great things out of them coming up in the future. All right, let's get on to today's show. Today, we have on one of the people that when I was growing up and running high school track in New Jersey in the 1990s was a name that you always heard on some legendary teams. We're going to bring him in right now. He is Andy Martin, all-time NJ great, former Holmdel Park record holder, and an endurance sports executive. Andy, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. Sorry to miss Alex, but I think having Lyle come in as a pinch hitter is going to be wonderful. And gosh, we grew up 20 minutes away from each other and now live about 20 minutes away from each other out in Colorado. So I think that's pretty cool and a good connector.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when I heard that Alex couldn't do it, I was bummed. And I said, who can I call? I'm like, I'm going to call Lyle. Let's have two New Jersey legends on the show together, reminiscent about old times.
I'm really glad there, Dave. You caught me in the car driving my son home to practice tonight.
And it was weird. It was like a Facebook Messenger call because I didn't have your actual phone number yet. So I'm like, let me try to call a Facebook Messenger, which I've never done.
Like,
but
hey, Dave Hyatt's calling me. What the heck? So I picked it up, and I'm really glad. I'm glad I did because this will be fun.
It's great seeing things happen behind the scenes come together so quickly.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, we were going to go last night, but then we figured I'm not sure if we want to go up against the NCAA championship game. Yeah. I'm not sure how many people we'll have there. So we're just going to kind of push it back one night, and then everything works out for a reason.
Yeah. Except for Alex not being here. But
yes. But then we wouldn't have Lyle. So
that's right.
It kind of is what it is. So Andy, we're going to start off with the same question we ask every guest on this show. What was your spark to get into this sport? Not the time where you decided that, or where you just wanted to run it, but what gave you that motivation to realize this is a sport that I think I can do, and something that I want to work hard at, and to make this a part of my life? Do you remember that time when everything clicked?
I remember it like yesterday, and it happened so quickly, and things just took off so quickly. It was 1976. The Montreal Olympics were going on. I was loving playing baseball in the little leagues in the clinic league. My first year playing baseball in Highbridge, and at summer camp, I went to a summer camp called Wynniewald, which was
Wynniewald, nice,
right in Lebanon or Clinton Township, and it was just a summer camp, arts and crafts and activities and swimming and stuff. But it was 1976 in the Olympics, so we had summer camp Olympics, and I was on Team Poland. I loved Greg Luzinski, who played for the Philadelphia Phillies at the time. So we made the Polish shirts. I put Luzinski on the back of my shirt. And it turns out there was I think it was about a half-mile run around the perimeter of the camp. And I finished second. And I actually finished second to a girl. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's how I got my start in running. I got second to a girl, and it just clicked like that. And so I was probably 9.5 at the time, and within I don't know, I was probably running the 100 Harriers youth cross country meets that fall, which were put on by George and Joni Miller, and they were set up at different high schools all around Hunterdon County and different elementary schools. And They were a mile and a half distance, and that's where I got to meet Gavin Sloan. I got to meet Brad Hudson. The Millers also put on a auxiliary program that was going on in Hunterdon County. They were also doing one in Union County. And so I would go over to some of those meets, and I think Janet Smith was running over there. So a lot of stuff was happening within the first couple months of me catching the bug of running and the sport. And I quickly went from loving baseball to not loving baseball and loving running, and putting it all into running. And I think within a year and a half, I had actually run a marathon at the age of 11. So it happened quickly.
So back in 1976, did you have anybody that you were watching in the Olympics, or was it just you got caught up in the moment of, like, were you old enough then to have like anybody that you were rooting for, or you just got caught up in the actual track and field stuff?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Looking back, I don't even know if I knew, like, I was following anything in the Olympics per se. My first memory of the Olympics was 1972, though, because my father had gone to Munich to watch the Olympics. And for some reason, I don't know why, I was in El Paso, Texas. And I remember watching the Olympics there, and knowing my father was over there. But I don't really have any memory of any of the athletes or anything in 76. But I'll tell you what, by 1980, I could tell you every athlete that was on that 1976 team and what event they ran and how they did. So
1972, your dad was at Munich. I mean, that had to be scary too, being
well,
a young kid with
I was
everything going
only how old was I? 6 or 7 years old. So I don't think I even knew what was going on with the terrorist attacks.
Oh,
yeah, that was. But the Olympics is a big thing for a lot of people getting introduced to the sport, and sort of you get that excitement about something bigger than you can imagine. It's you know, because it's a worldwide event. It's everybody's excited about it. And I remember 76 too. I remember watching it with my dad in our house and just on the TV and seeing. I remember Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon and taking a victory lap with the flag and all that. And that was a thing. And then, you know, but that was all, you know, wrapped in. I didn't realize you got started so young. It was funny. Yeah. But that was all the, you know, the heat of the running boom in those days.
Oh yeah, and listen,
that was still a big thing.
76 was, you know, like, and I'm sure there were a lot of people, like, you know, contemplating, I wonder what would happen if a Pre was still around, you know, like, because that would have been his, you know, he would have been probably in his prime, 26, 27 years old, you know. So
yeah, what I do remember about 1976, though, my dad ran the New York City Marathon that year, and that was the first year where the marathon was outside of Central Park. And I remember going to the finish line and just sitting on the ground and watching Frank Shorter and Bill Rogers, and I think who was the German? The German come in, and that was my first real memory of like big time running. Was the finish line of the New York City Marathon that year, where I think there was 2,000 people that ran the race.
Right.
So I want to get into something that always fascinated me, because growing up in Toms River, Jersey Shore, if you would have told me before I got to high school that North Hunterdon was in the state of New Jersey, I would have said you are crazy. I was like, where is that located? I mean, talking about a completely different vibe than where I am at the Jersey Shore. What was it like growing up in that area? What was the running scene like? And, you know, maybe I would like to get into some of those, because before CBA, I mean, CBA was always good, but I mean, you had Bernard's, and then you had North Hunterdon, which absolutely dominated the New Jersey scene across country. If you look at some of the top 5 averages from the team's best 5, North Hunterdon's right there still. So what was it like growing up there, and how did you get all these kids to just buy in and want to run? Was it because you had mountains and you were all just crazy kids, or like, because I mean, you guys were special.
Yeah, I think it was really the running program, the Hunterdon Harriers. It was the Hunterdon County Park System Sunday morning races, right? I think that's really wherever you find good high school programs, you usually find a good youth program feeding into that. And I think that's what happened with us. And I know it happened with Bernardsville.
Well, yep. I was just say that when we had on Lyle, he was mentioning how important and relevant the youth program that was to their success.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get, here and there, you might get one or two athletes,
Right.
right, that may succeed, but to get a team and to get the body of athletes that you need to be a good team, you're most likely going to find that youth program. And I really think for our teams, that's the basis of where our athletes came from. Not only North Hunterdon, but also Hunterdon Central, who was a pretty good program back then, and they had some athletes that we ran against in that program. So I think it's really, it came from that youth program that the Millers started. And I'm always thankful for what they did. And I've never quite had the opportunity to put in place anything like what they've done, but I've always tried to provide something on the local level in terms of recognition or whatever it may be for athletes, because I think that's really important. So, the vibe was, it was the running boom. There was a running club in Hunterdon County that met every, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday. And my dad was a big part of that. I would tag along. And he had a group of friends that would always meet to go for runs. He had a law office right downtown Clinton that, was kind of the meeting place. He would get off. He had a pretty flexible schedule, but he would get off at 2:33 in the afternoon, and there'd always be a couple people joining him for a run out on the streets of Clinton. So, and Clinton and Somerset County and Hunterdon County. I mean, a lot of people, think of New Jersey in certain ways, and we were very fortunate to sort of live in this idyllic setting. I mean, if you know Clinton, the Red Mill and
I do.
The waterfall. I mean, I ran over that. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of times. Gavin Sloan lived on one side of it, and I lived on the other. And we would always meet somewhere in the middle, which is usually in downtown Clinton on the bridge. So.
Yeah, when I was at Rutgers, my girlfriend there went to Hunterdon Central, I believe. Mm-hmm. So like when I would go to her house, and I go, how are we still like driving down 287, going down 78? I was like, where are we? Like, this is nothing. And then she would come to my house, Jersey Shore, and be like, what is going on here? Everything's so fast paced. Now, so I mean,
it's funny. I remember I said this to somebody the other day that because most people think when they hear New Jersey, they think of the opening sequence to The Sopranos,
or the show Jersey Shore,
and I'm and for those of us who still call that our former home, at least, I'm kind of okay with it, with people thinking that. Oh, we grew up out in the woods, we grew up out in we called it the Burnersville Mountain, and then we had to move to Colorado to figure out what a real mountain was.
Yeah.
But honestly, you say, Dave, how how I said our youth program was a big part of our success at Bernard, but honestly, the Hunterdon Harriers was a big part of our success at Bernard's too, because we all knew each other, we all ran against each other all the time and competed against each other. So it was not just that farm team kind of program situation that was going on, but the competition amongst us, all the kids running against each other, a lot of road races in those days too.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that was a big thing.
I remember going up to the Bernardsville half marathon and running, and it was the hilliest course I've ever run in my life. So, and just going back to, Hunterdon County, Somerset County being a little bit different than the rest of New Jersey. I mean, near where Lyle grew up, the King of Morocco had a mansion. Jackie Onassis had a house there. Whitney Houston, Mike Tyson. I mean, it was sort of the Beverly Hills of New Jersey.
Yeah, we used to run through Jackie O's property. We had a Jackie O course.
I think the youth running is just as prevalent now as it ever has been. I mean, I coach the local gone running program, so for the same reason, so I can get these kids interested in the sport, so that when they come to my high school, we're not starting with freshmen who have never ever run, in the past. So,
so going back to Jackie Onassis, so I'm running the Midland Run one year, and I'm running with my dad. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my dad's a big story in my life, my running life, and my life in general. But and we run by this woman that's out at the end of her driveway, in the middle of the race, and my dad goes, "Do you know who that was?" And I said, "No." He goes, "That's Jackie Onassis." Well, I had no idea who Jackie Onassis was. So I'm like, "Well, who's that?" And then he explained to me, John Kennedy's wife. And I'm like, "Wait, she lives here in New Jersey?
Right.
Like, that's crazy."
Yeah, we'd see her driving around.
Yeah.
Pierre Salinger was in town quite a bit. Malcolm Forbes had a place out in Bedminster.
Who would have thought all these people?
DeLorean.
Yes,
DeLorean.
John DeLorean was there too.
Who would have thought that all these people were from that resided in that part of New Jersey? Because like again, when I was when you're young and a kid, you think that like your town is like the biggest town in the world, and
right.
like, so it's cool that
but you had Springsteen and
yes, you did.
Bon Jovi, so I mean,
it's all a pretty straight shot to New York City too.
Right? Yeah, listen, I mean,
kind of the attraction for these folks.
Yeah, I mean, nowhere in this state is it that big where you can't get somewhere.
That's true.
Well, that's the great thing about New Jersey. Yeah, you can get anywhere in 2 hours basically.
Yep.
So,
even so let's get back to North Hunterdon, because like I said, growing up and running in the early to mid 90s, we were a Group 3 school, and we just could never beat you guys. Like, I mean, this was a little after you, but you were a part of building that tradition. So what was it like being there in high school? Your teammates, coaches, like, do you feel that, because you guys always ran really, really well at Holmdel, do you feel growing up where you did, having all those hills was a huge benefit to running at Holmdel later on?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, we had North Hunterdon is on a road called Regional Road. And there's a hill on Regional Road about a half mile from the high school that was like the perfect simulation of the bowl.
Okay.
The hill and the bowl. It did this gradual and then it went like this. So we would just do repeats on that all the time. And, I think that definitely helped. I think having like-minded people around us, not only our coaches, but our teammates. I mentioned Gavin Sloan, Bill Babcock, who ended up running at Wake Forest and finishing second at the Meet of Champions in cross country. We had Brad Hudson, Ed Lecco. We always had somebody to run
and the
with.
Women too. And
well, they were better than us. I mean, we don't talk about them.
Anne-Marie Locke.
we don't talk about them. They're too good.
We had on Julie Cully.
Yep, Julie's wonderful.
About a year and a half ago, and she was good in high school, but then she really, really blossomed after the fact. winning U.S. Nationals was.
Yeah, I had the privilege of working with Julie a little bit. When I left USA Track and Field, I was there for 12 years and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I worked with the New York Track Club for about a year and a half.
Gagliano.
And it was a wonderful experience. And Julie, as you know, basically helped GAG start the club. And the club ended up being based in Annandale, which is essentially Clinton.
Yep.
So I got to know Julie during that time. I hadn't known her before, and man, what a great young woman. And I mean, now she's I guess in her 40s, but
and
a mom, but I also somehow had the honor. It was spur of the moment of introducing her as she was inducted into the North Hunterdon Hall of Fame.
Very nice.
Happened to be there that day. Bill Babcock was getting inducted. They realized they didn't have anybody to do the introduction, and I did my best at winging it and giving her honor of being inducted. But yeah, so Julie's one of them. Obviously, Jody Bellata. I mean, she's an all-timer. 3-time MOC champion. I don't know how many track titles she won.
A lot.
I do know she won 3 in 1 year in one day.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know that, but she won the 800, 1600, and 3200. I mean, I don't think anybody's done that.
I mean, that was a triple. I don't think we've ever had a boy or girl win all 3 of that. I mean, like last year we had Natalie Dumas win 3 races at Nationals. She won the 8, the 400 hurdles, and the 400, and
that was extraordinary.
Ran like 2 flat, 55 and like 51. It was crazy. But I don't think we've had anybody in one day win off. I mean, you have to be dominant.
Yeah, and she didn't run slow either. Like her,
no.
Her 3200 20 something. So We still on?
Yeah.
Okay, we went blank for a second there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, I mean, her times were not slow that day. But yeah, Anne-Marie Lecco, who went on to be an Olympian, the LaPlaca sisters, and they went 1, 2, 3 at the Meet of Champions in cross country.
Those girls teams were
1, 2, 3. I mean,
the boys teams were really good, but those girls teams were on another level.
They were on another level. I think
they were like Union Catholic was now. Then.
Yeah, I think they've won 9 titles. A couple of them came in the last decade or 15 years, but I think during that time they probably won 5 or 6.
So the boys were just trying to keep up with the girls.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out my future wife was on the 83 team.
Nice.
She was the 5th girl for that team. And I think that was at the time was probably the fastest team time average ever. I'm sure it's about 30th now.
Yeah.
But I met her, through cross country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot that's different in the sport now than was then, and I don't think for better, mostly for better, honestly. But it is different. I feel like you kind of have to acknowledge that sometimes. Like Holmdel is so different.
Just Holmdel Park itself is different. Just the way it's manicured. The layout is the same, but it's a lot. Like if it rains now, you're not in feet of mud.
Oh, Lyle, I can talk to you about mud at the bottom of the bowl.
Oh yeah,
I've
been there too, man. It was rough.
I still say Brad Hudson ran 15:46 in probably the worst conditions I've ever seen, and may be the greatest run ever at Holmdel that nobody knows about.
I don't think I can disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
I remember that day. That was a rough day.
Yep.
And
it would have been your sophomore year groups. Yeah. And I didn't even come anywhere close to 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And he went 16:46 and 15:46.
15:46.
And I remember going around that turn to head up the hill, and I couldn't keep my traction. I ended up in the bushes off to the left.
Oh, that happens. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
That happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was tough, and people, and I'll just say this again. The audience who knows New Jersey will know this, but I talk to people here who don't sort of understand the concept of the Meet of Champions in New Jersey is that it's a championship where all the schools of all different sizes come together in one meet at the end of the season and race against each other. And it's kind of unique compared. There's not a lot of states that do anything like that.
No, they don't do it here in Colorado. They do it in Indiana a little bit differently than New Jersey, but it is one state championship. But it is so awesome.
In New Jersey,
it's really unique and fun. Yeah.
Well, it's unique in Jersey because there are some states out there that have an individual champion. Jersey has both. They have a team
for cross country, especially. It's really unique experience. Yeah.
Once you get past the groups in a track, there is no team title for me champs because it's just so hard because so few kids from each team actually make it that you would never be able to have a true, All right. I'm going to get to some questions quick from Alex because he is watching us.
Oh, Alex.
He said, so sad that I can't be there live for this one. Thanks for jumping on, Andy, and thanks for filling in, Lyle. Enjoyed the conversation already. And then he said, we need more youth running programs around the country that feed into the middle school so that the kids have a head start. I agree. And it said Jersey is literally split into like 5 different distinct areas. I'm not sure I see 5. Definitely. What was there? South, middle, and central, right? I guess there's North 1, North 2.
Well, there's always the there's the talk of the phantom central New Jersey. People argue whether it exists or not, because Bernard's was technically, when I was there, when I was in high school, it was technically central Jersey.
Yeah,
in the designation.
Well, here's what I think.
Now they're in North for some reason, but
if
I think North is in North now too.
If Tom's River isn't central New Jersey, then there is none. Like we were country. You don't get more central than right in the middle. Of the state. So
I guess it's all population based. I would think.
Thank you, Alex, for your question.
But I think Alex is right. I think the youth programs they were different in our day because they were like ours came out of a like the Burnersville Recreation Commission. You said it came out of the Hunterdon version of that.
Yeah.
It grew into the Hunterdon Harriers. It grew into the Mine Mountain Road Department on our end, and we had everybody from like grammar school kids on up to the college kids, on up to the parents who were running as masters athletes, and we all trained together in the summertime, and there was an energy to it.
That's cool.
That I think it's hard to replicate. But I think you want to talk about that with the Hunterdon Harriers. I know because you guys, we didn't have like whole teams in cross country that we would bring to the Junior Olympics. You guys had whole teams you brought.
We pulled together teams, especially my age, so whatever that would have been at the time. But I remember going out, and I think Lyle, you might have been there. We were out in Overland Park, Kansas. It was about 20.
I wasn't there. I was the next year. I ended up in Cheyenne, but yeah.
Okay. So
that was Tracy Hinman and Meg Waldron and some of those folks.
And JJ Clark was with us somehow. I'm not quite sure, but
JJ.
but we had a team that was myself, Gavin, Randy Valentine. Do you remember Mr.
Oh, I remember Randy. Yeah, I used to work with his dad at the newspaper.
Yeah. In Dover. Joey O'Connor, who was from Metuchen, and then Andy O'Donnell, who was from Hopatcon. Bill hadn't started running yet. Brad never really ran on the Hunterdon Harriers, but we won the national championship. I think we went in the 9 and 10 division and scored 25 points or something. Awesome. It was so fun. And then a couple years later, we went out to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and ran there. And then in high school, we got back together our sophomore year. I remember because we had the meet of champions on Saturday, and then we had to run the regional meet, which was also at Holmdel the next day. So we were a few that ever ran Holmdel 2 days in a row.
Right. And I was in the age group below you guys.
I think we were in the 15, 16.
Yeah.
And we went out to Cincinnati, Ohio, and we won the title there as well.
That's
Bill
awesome.
was on the team by that point. So, so those were good times. We were able to put together teams. And I don't know if the other age groups or the girls ever had teams or not. I can't remember, but we always managed to pull together.
Yeah, I remember
teams.
I went to it too. I went to Mobile, Alabama, and to Sandy, Oregon, but I ran for the Cosmic Track Club with Les Wright.
Oh, Les. Yeah, I remember that name. So I was the managing director for USATF New Jersey for a year and a half in the late 90s, and Les Wright was very involved. I remember that name. Great guy.
So, Andy, what are some of your favorite times from your whole running career? It could be high school, it could be college, it could be after college. What are some things that really kind of stick out that still to this day just bring back such fond memories?
Yeah, I think I think those youth teams, being with those youth teams, and the friendships we created with athletes that were from different parts of northern New Jersey, those were fun. Obviously, winning the state title, team title in '83. With Brad being on the team that year, I think we had 4 in the top 15 or 12 or something. That was obviously very fun, and the girls won that same year.
That's awesome.
I think that's the last time a boys and girls team has ever won the same year. I think Bernard's did it the year before.
That's true. Yeah,
we did it. And then CBA basically kind of took over after that. They don't have girls, so
and if CBA, keeps on winning, it's not going to happen anytime soon because they don't. I mean, I guess you go CBA Union Catholic since
Union Catholic could do well. Union Catholic
has a shot.
Yeah. They have the horses too.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some great athletes there.
But I mean, I can't think of any public school at this time that would.
It's a different time too.
It's way different.
And I'm still a little bent out of shape about our 82 team because I was a freshman on that team, and I ran. We had 8 guys who were all competing for the 7 slots.
Sure.
And of course, Carlotti won the meet, and I ran in the group meet, and then they moved one of the seniors in for the meet of champions the next week. And so I joke that I'm a little bent out of shape about that, because I was technically on the team, I guess, for the season, but not on that day. So
you got a ring.
But you helped them get into the meet of champs.
That's true. That's true. But
I'll tell you
that was an interesting thing, because I know Mark Wetmore was our coach.
Sure.
And he always liked to set sort of goals that hadn't been done before, kinds of things in our season, and having the boys and girls win that year was one of
huge.
them. And then to have you guys come the next year and do the same thing was just like, wow, that's really, really cool.
And the crazy thing, that 82 race, it was the only year we didn't qualify for the meet of champions as a team. We got third the year before when I was a freshman, didn't qualify, and then we won in 83, and then got second in 84. So it was just an off year for us.
Yeah.
We graduated a couple seniors from the year before, and Bill Babcock hadn't really developed yet. And
this in 82?
82.
And Brad was running for
Brad was at Voorhees.
At Voorhees, yeah. And Brad grew up, the people may or may not know this. Brad trained with Mark and us over in Bernardsville almost every day. Even though we all knew each other, all ran in the same circles. I remember, I don't know if you remember, I think my memory of meeting you, Andy, was maybe I was 11 or 12 years old at Van Cortlandt Park.
I love Van Cortlandt.
I
love it.
We're going there.
And I remember you were wearing spikes, and I was so jealous because I wanted a pair of spikes.
Oh, we probably bought them out of the back of Gary Murky's car. Remember? He had the van. He had a van. He'd roll up, and he would open up the doors, and there'd be spikes on the doors.
Hey, smart.
Right out on Broadway, outside of it. Oh, it was so cool. But that 82 race, you asked about memories, and that 82 race was crazy. In retrospect, nowadays it's not that big a deal, but we had 5 guys break 16 minutes at Holmdel. That was like unheard of.
Oh, that was ridiculous. Yeah.
And it didn't happen for a long time.
You still don't have many teams who have 5. I mean,
no. This was 5 in the race. This was 5 not 5 on a team. But that was big back then.
That was a big deal.
I'm saying 5 in one race.
Yes. Yeah.
That's I mean that's even,
well, it happens all the time now, right? Now,
not as much though. Not 5. I mean,
but
maybe 3 or 4. But 5 is.
But the
extraordinary.
race is so weird and crazy. I don't know if I got a bad start or what it was, but I went into the bowl in about 50th place, and somehow I came out of the bowl in second. I don't know. I think I was just petrified.
It was all those hills.
I don't know what it was, but 10 of us hit the tennis courts together. 10 of us. It was amazing. And it started spreading out when we went into the woods, and Carlotti ended up winning it. But then the cool thing about it for the Hunterdon guys was Brad got second in 15:55.
Yep.
Jim Herdman got third from Hunterdon Central in 15:56.
Hunterdon.
And I was fourth in 15:57. So that was pretty cool that, 3 of the 5 that broke 16 were, you could call it Route 31 schools. So, yeah.
I mean,
right.
You guys mentioned a name, Brad Hudson. And, when I was growing up, he was considered by a lot to be one of the most talented runners that ever run in New Jersey. So, I know that he left and went to, I think, Junction City, Oregon, his senior year. But what was it like running with him? Because he was only on North Hunter for what, 1 or 2 years?
So about 5 months.
So
Brad went to Voorhees, grew up in Califon, New Jersey, which was just north of where I grew up in Clinton. Went to Voorhees his freshman year and his sophomore year. But tragically, his freshman year, he was in a car accident with his mother.
I remember that.
And she passed away his freshman year in that car accident. So Brad didn't have the best relationship with his father. And his father worked on the docks in Newark, so I don't think he was around a lot. So he kind of mustered through his sophomore year at Voorhees. And his father decided to move down to Lebanon, which is in the North Hunterdon sending district. And I don't think it was so much to be on our team, just so he had a little bit more of a community. And He was a little bit closer to work maybe, but so Brad came in our junior year, and from the tragedy of his mother, Brad used running basically as a drug and was running 140 miles a week. I mean, it's true. I would see him running to school. I would see him at 11 o'clock in the morning out on the track doing his first workout of the day. I would see him at practice. We would do workouts, and then he would run 3 to 4 miles at night. He was running 4 times a day. So I mentioned he was on the track at 11 o'clock in the morning. So Brad was not really going to class either.
Right.
And Brad wouldn't mind me telling the world this.
It was the 80s, man.
This is the 80s, right? So we run the group meet indoors our junior year down in Princeton, and we go 1-2 in the 3,200 meters. We end up winning the group meet with just that first and second place finish. I think that you're alluding to that back with the team scoring the Meet of Champions, but that's on a Friday night, I think. No, that was on a Saturday. On Tuesday, he finds out he's academically ineligible to compete even at the Meet of Champions in track. By that Friday, he had left New Jersey and gone to Eugene, Oregon, and was sleeping on John Carlotti's couch. And he never came back to New Jersey.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brad's a great guy, and he was out here in Colorado when we first moved out here. We got together. We hadn't seen each other in a while, but he's a great guy. He's very intelligent, well-read, knows everything that's going on in the sport of track and field and running, a great coach, and did very well at Oregon and post-collegiately. You know, despite running 140 miles a week, you know, he ran 2:13 marathon, got 10th in the NCAA cross-country championships. So there was no burnout there whatsoever. Injuries got a hold of him eventually, but he never really burned out. So he was on fire. I mean, his junior year, 12:15 at Van Cortlandt. I mean, he broke the course record that stood for about 30 years, I think.
Yeah, I remember. I was there that day. That was something else. And he was the real deal, and remains so. Honestly, he's like you say, he's got a depth of knowledge in the sport that's as good as anybody. Maybe ever. I mean, because he trained with us. He trained with Mark, who was all the Lydiard method, and then he got into all the other different big coaching methods over the years. And I haven't seen Brad in a long time, but I know Brad longer than I know you.
Yeah.
Because he used to train with us all the time, and he went when we went out to Cheyenne to run the Junior Olympics. He was on that team for the Mine Mountain Road Department.
Yep.
So it's
funny story about Brad. So he was on fire that junior year, 12:15. He was just lighting it up everywhere he went. And Ed Grant wrote in his column, he goes, nobody's willing to even try to go with Brad. Everybody's basically, I read it as everybody's chicken to go, try to beat Brad. That lit a fire under me. I got mad because even though, hey, he was, I was only 8 seconds behind him when he broke the course record at Van Cortlandt. I ran 12:23. I'm like, I could see him, right? I could see that course record.
Right.
So we got to sectionals, and I'm like, I'm taking him. And I just stuck on him like there was no tomorrow, was able to outkick him. And boy, that lit a fire under him. So Tuesday after that happens, we go out for separate runs. I come back. Brad's waiting. Something's going on. I'm like, something's weird's happening here. He's at the track. He lines up to do a time trial or a tempo run. He runs 9:02. He waited for me to get back to the track for me to see that. And it was lights out. I was like, I'm like, that was a one and done. I get it. And that's the next week he ran the 15:46 in the mud. And, went on to set the course record
So
at Holmdel and win me the champions.
So Ed Grant lit a fire under you, and then you lit a fire under Brad.
Yeah,
That's a great
You
story.
got to be careful with those sorts of things.
So Andy, you asked, so let's do it. Van Cortlandt Park. What are your feelings and your thoughts about that beautiful? And I think we had Jorge Torres on, awesome guy. I think it was a shame that they took the Foot Locker or Brooks Now meet from there all the way up to Boston, because that's just a staple running that course that some people have, testing yourself. So what are your thoughts about it? You wanted to talk about it, and I want to hear about it.
Going back to the youth days, going there and running the Roadrunners Club of America national championships, and the 1.5 mile course, and which didn't go in the backwoods at all. And then knowing that when I got into high school, we're going to the backwoods. I mean, the broken glass, and I mean, there was ruts back there, and there was that downhill where if you didn't quite make the turn, you're going to run into the fence.
Yep.
I just love going there. I love going there as a kid. Freshman year, set the freshman course record there, which stood for about 30 years, ran 12:55. The next year, the gun goes off and I'm sitting down taking my sweats off. And that's the only time I didn't break 13 minutes at Van Cortlandt Park. So that's kind of a sticking point for me. But and then our junior year with Brad, we were the first team to have 4 guys break 13 minutes in one race.
That was a hell of a team you guys had.
I remember breaking 14 minutes. I was so excited.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't have a 5th man break 14. So that was we came within about a half second of the course record, team course record, going 12:23, 12:15, 12:23. Bill ran about 12:48, and Gavin was about 12:53. And that's the first team to break 4, have 4 break 13. Now I know teams are doing it with 5 guys and 4th men that are probably running 12:20 something, but
it's pretty crazy now.
Yeah. And then it was crazy. And then the next year, I tried to go after Brad's record, and I ran the same exact time I ran my junior year, to the 10th. So, but what was pretty cool was, like, I don't know, I was sandwiched between like Salzar and LaCory, or 2 big names like that. I'm like, that is so awesome. Like, so awesome. Cool. I just having my name next to those 2 names was just amazing. So.
That's what was something that was really unique about Van Cortlandt, though, was that everybody who was somebody ran there, it seemed like, at one time or another. And so you could compare yourself against everybody from different eras and generations. I mean, there's a legend anyway about LaCory, because the starting line was so wide, and it was a straight shot into the cow path, and which was like 2.5 across.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so the legend was that LaCory one year brought starting blocks and asked the starter for a 3-command start.
That's awesome.
I don't care if it's not true. I just want to believe it's true.
That is awesome. That's hilarious.
That is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was looking at like the top 5 runners from a school in their history at Holmdel Park. I think you guys are still top 3 or 4.
Are we?
Because I mean, you got to figure. Brendan Heffernan was what, 1520s?
Brendan was 1530. Matt McDonald was 1530.
You were what, 34?
35.
35.
Brad was 38, and Bill Babcock was 48.
I mean, that's crazy.
I think we were number 1 for a while, and then obviously CBA is, blown us out of the water.
I think they averaged 1540 in 1 year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we all have our thoughts about CBA, and I was no different back then, and
Sure.
In fact, but one of their,
it has changed now, though.
I think it has, and that's where I was going to go.
Now it's more just like, wow, it's more just like you just respect them, like, holy cow.
Yeah,
like,
and I never bought into the whole recruiting thing. I mean,
no, and listen, like you still have to get kids and make them into something. Like they're not all like they still have to get better than they are freshman year. And I think now like Sean and Carl, they get these kids to just, I don't know, they get them, they're just running so well. And so what I admire most of them, watching them, you know, from as an opposing coach and having Sean on our show, is just how close they are. They're a family. Like they all care about each other, and they don't want to let anyone else down. And that's just team culture, you know, and that's hard to be like, that's why kids want to go there, because they have that culture. Like, why would you not want to be part of that if you're
if you can?
Level? Yeah, I'm saying like if you're at that level, like, why would you not want to go there? You know?
Yeah, I would even challenge people to go back and see what these kids were running in middle school. I don't think any of them were superstars in middle school. So my son ended up being teammates and actually roommates and best men at each other's wedding with Mike Mazzucaro. And I remember going to their dorm room their senior year at Princeton, and my son had one of my old jerseys, and it was hanging up next to a CBA jersey. And that was a little hard to swallow. But Mike was such a nice guy.
Oh, listen, they are, but like they're all super nice, respectful kids. Like they don't have this like, I mean, I'm sure that they are confident in themselves, but like they don't come across as like, you know, like belittling anybody. Like they're just there. They just go and do their
getting
thing.
The job done. Getting the job done.
It's funny.
And they work really, really hard. I'm sure Lyle, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You see that with your son over at Niwot. So, you know, like
well, there's always
it's a program, it's a culture.
Yeah, Kelly Christensen talks about the sort of the negative talk. You know, don't buy into the negative talk. He has a phrase for it. I can't remember right now, but it's because it's the same kind of stuff. You talked about the recruiting myth at CBA, and you had the coach on talking about that. Sean talking about that, and I'm particularly sensitive to that because I still to this day have people who insist I was recruited to Bernard's, a public school a town I moved into when I was 4.
Right.
So, you know,
well, that was the rumor about Carlotti, right? The rumor was Carlotti. I think he moved there for
let's bring up all the rumors. Let's go.
His family moved to Bernardsville.
Right. Exactly. It's like Brad moved to Lebanon. I mean, we didn't.
Was he recruited there? You know, I don't know. He didn't. It's not like they bought him. He just came and moved here.
That stuff has been going on forever. People finding ways to get on certain teams. It's nothing new now. I mean, maybe it's more prevalent now, but listen, you go where you're going to be good. Like Bernard's was great.
Carlotti's an interesting case because here's a guy who he went again. I was going back and trying to track all the state champions from Bernard's in this one document for a project I was working on. And I found Carlotti, and I'm like, Carlotti won his first Group 1 state championship. I think it was indoors, 1,600 meters at Cedar Grove. And I'm like, okay, do I count this? Why not?
Nope.
So
gotta wear the jersey.
He won. Well, it's his state championship, so that counts.
Yeah.
But is it Bernard's state championship? No. So, but fast forward a little bit, he was fourth man, I think, on the cross country team in 81.
Okay.
And decided my memory of it is he worked with Mark and set a goal for himself that he wanted to win the state championship, and trained all summer. And the 20 course in Bernardsville, right? So I remember him running. I remember watching him finish the 20 course over and over again all summer long. And he ran almost a minute faster between junior and senior year at Holmdel. Which is not to be ignored. You know, he wasn't even Bernard's first man at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he worked hard. I mean,
Chris Blanchet was running first man at the early part of the season.
Yeah.
So, all that stuff, and that's what I keep telling my son, who's a sophomore growing up. It's like it's when they talk about consistency, that's really what it is. It's to sort of remember that if you want to get to a certain point, you got to put in the miles and the time, and it maybe not 140 miles like Brad.
Well, I never put 2 and 2 together until you talked about Blanchet. So in 83, Carlotti would have won the 800, and Blanchet won the 3,200.
Yep.
Yeah. So two guys from Bernard's won 2 of the 3 distance races at the Meet of Champions.
And in '84, Jim Nielsen won.
Oh, I know. I remember that race.
Won the 3,200 in 9:03, and came back later that night and won the 1,600 in 4:13.
Sounds like
ever.
Sounds like Andy
one ever
was
double.
Was
and
in that 32.
one of the few to ever double.
Yep.
I was on the back end of the 3,200, holding on to dear life, and he put 3 seconds on me in the last 200 meters. I got second in that race.
I
3
remember,
seconds in the last 200 meters. He ran 2:0.
He was tough as nails.
2:04 for his last 800 meters.
Yeah.
I
remember that because I was in the 1,600. I was leading.
You won the 1,600.
I was leading the 1,600 in '84 as a sophomore till about 300 meters to go, and then the world went by me, led by Jim Nielsen. So it was, that was a heck of a night. I remember that.
Yeah.
So
that's right. You won the next year. You won in '80.
And I won the next year. I wasn't a junior.
'85. Yeah. Okay.
So I want to ask you guys, being with such prominent teammates, was practice fun? Was it competitive? Was it did you guys go at it in practice? I mean, you guys both came from great programs. Like, do you think that being part of having those great teammates definitely made you guys better runners?
Oh yeah.
I think there's no question about that. Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
so the answer, was it fun? It was hard.
Sure.
And it was fun. It was fun. And we talked, we laughed, we joked with each other, we pushed each other around all the time. It was great. And we had guys, I wrote about it one time. We had a 12-mile run, out 6, back 6. And so you'd get the guys who weren't the top guys in practice. All of a sudden they're like right on you, and nobody gives you a break.
No.
So I had, Pete Beckwith, who I'd run with since I was 11 or so, was right on my tail in this 12-mile run. That you're like, because they don't let you get that attitude of I'm owed this.
Right. Yeah.
Just because you're the top guy on the team or the top guy in this event doesn't mean you're owed anything. You have to go and earn it every single day. And so that's, I don't know, your situation might have been different in North.
No, I think it was the same. Like, we had I think it was like a 9-mile loop. We call it Camp Carr loop. It kind of back roads of Hunterdon County, and it was kind of our staple run. And I can remember a couple of times. I think the guys being on the team with myself and Bill and Gavin, they would want to go with us for as long as we could. And sometimes there was days where I was like, damn, we're kind of moving hard. And these guys are sticking, and I'm like, I don't like this. So, I'm like, now we're going to go a little bit deeper. So,
Well,
it's funny because
and the end of that run, and many of our runs, was that hill I was talking about on Regional Road that would end on that. So you had to go up to North Hunterdon on top of this hill on most of our runs. So
there's no easy finish, right?
Yeah, listen. Well, I mean, because I graduated high school in '96, so I remember fall of '91 was my introduction to North Hunterdon. Like, I'm a freshman running in the Group 3 state championship. I'm okay. I'm like a 1830 kid, and I'm after the first mile at Holmdel, I'm running into the bowl, right? Like on that long path. I look to the right, and there's Brendan Heffernan on the other side, already out of the bowl. I'm like, who is this guy, and what is going on? I mean, just tough, man. And then my senior year, Chris Robinson wins in 1602. It was just amazing programs. It's now. Do you guys ever like follow now what's going on with your high school? Because I know, like in Lyle, like you got Brody Watt there now. And they ran really well last year. DMR. Do you guys still kind of follow your old high school teams?
I do a bit, and Brody's an interest. Again, I don't know Brody at all. I know Dave Sostak a bit. I sent him some little text messages to say, hey, remind him of this, remind him of that, going to Milrose or whatever, rah kind of stuff. And so that's nice. So we follow, and I have a group email with a few of my old teammates that so Jim Nielsen, Steve Patrick was our quarter miler in the '84 Penn team, Sharon Ahern, and a couple other folks are on this thing, and so they'll say, "Oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Did you hear what they ran?" So we kibitz a little bit about it, and it's nice to see, and it's nice to catch up on, and we all talk the old days, but I don't. You're the guest, Andy. How about you?
Not so much in recent years, but Ray Salerno came through and ran 4:10. Gavin Richards came through and ran like 4:12. So when those guys start popping up, I'll start paying attention to what they're doing, and especially if they're running the 3,200 meters, because I still have the school record, and always curious to if somebody's going to get that. So
what's the school record?
So I ran 9:06 for 2 miles.
So like 9:03-ish?
9:02, 9:03. Yeah. So I think that's what they count as a school record. So
that's fast running.
That's not to be ignored even now.
No, that's still
that's real running.
Yeah, I get about 10th in most races now, but
it's a different world. Yeah. So Andy, so after North Hunterdon, what happened then?
Went to the University of Virginia and just kind of really just petered out, to be honest. The end of my senior year track, I was struggling, didn't run well at Penn relays, was just struggling in general with running and just feeling sluggish. And somehow I mustered a win at the Meet of Champions. I don't know how I did it. I pulled it out of somewhere to win the state 3,200. But about a year later, I ended up with a blood clot up in my shoulder when I was at the University of Virginia. And back then I never got diagnosed or, it was never determined whether that was happening a year earlier. And, and then if it affected me later on, I can only assume it did, but
sure.
It never really came back after really my senior year in cross country, other than that one little spurt at the Meet of Champions, and then at the Keebler meet where I actually ended up running that 9:06 for 2 miles. But so I just kind of went on with life, got my degree, and started a family fairly young. We were 25 when we had our son Connor, and started a screen printing business when I was in college down at the University of Virginia, and built that up, did that for about 8 or 9 years. In fact, Chris Robinson, Brendan Heffernan, Brian Harris all worked for me at one point. So,
and then you were selling shirts for the NJSIA, right?
Yeah. So in 92, we got the contract. My wife and I were running the company, and we got the contract with the NJSIA to do all the merchandise at all the sports at all the levels. And I don't know, we were talking about the other day, I don't know how we did it, because like my parents were talking about, they were down in South Jersey selling shirts at the state wrestling sectional meets, and where there's like 8 teams at them. And so, but we had that contract for 2 years, but I have fond memories of going back in 92 and 93 back to Holmdel and setting up shop right outside the,
I was there running.
What was that called? The little building. The fireplace.
Yeah.
We just called it the hut.
The hut.
Clubhouse.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So,
but I tell you what, though, there's nothing better than a cold, rainy day going in there, and that fire was always just nice and warm.
Oh, that smell.
The
smell. Yeah. When I heard they didn't have the awards in there.
No, they're outside now.
I know. I was like, man, there's nothing like, getting up on that podium,
Right. But
the fireplace.
But the worst part was, like, there were times where you might have to wait an hour to find out who actually won. I mean, unless it was obvious, like handing in all of your cards. Coach has to fill out the card. He has to sign it. He's got to hand it in. Like now, everything
all handwritten results.
Yep. And then Mr. Valentine, we're going back to Mr. Valentine. He was back there running the press.
Oh, like the mimeograph
with the blue ink, right?
Yeah.
It's all handwritten. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, different world. I mean, now if you're at a track meet and the event's done in like 5 minutes, every coach is on their phone. Like, all right, you ran this, you ran this, you ran this. It's crazy. It's so instant.
It was funny the other night. We watched the clip of Niwat running the distance medley out at Oregon Relays, and we looked up the results. So it was me and my son Aiden, and he asked something about Penn and Bernard's team and this, that. Oh, well, let me look it up. And the Penn Relay site has all the old results from
Sure.
a lot of the old results anyway.
Yep.
And so I'm looking for, where's 86? And I click on 86 and what comes up is this PDF
of the handwritten stuff. It's all handwritten stuff. Yep. I looked at it. And
some of it's typed, some of it's handwritten.
And it's not all split. Like,
no.
Like now
they had the splits kind of filled in the
like now
parentheses.
you get every kid's 200. You get every kid's individual split for that. Like as a coach, like I mean, I always time because that's just how I am. But like you could get away with not having a watch at a meet and just going back later. You know?
Okay.
And
so here's what drives me crazy. Okay,
go for it.
You hit. What are these kids doing with their watches these days?
God, yeah.
Listen,
I mean, I have seen kids on relays.
Yep.
Grab the baton and hit their watch. I'm like, what are you doing?
Called Strava. Every kid has to have every step that they ever take on the app, and everybody has to know what they did in their workout. Or like, I get it for like workout races, but like the part that I laugh at is like they'll put like their warm ups and cool. Like I don't care if you ran a mile and a half in 8-minute pace. Like it doesn't matter.
It's a little crazy.
I saw
because everything now in training, like, you know, when I was in high school in the 90s, I'm sure for you guys, every day was hard. Like there were no, like every day was like, I'm going to race my teammates. I don't care if it's a 10-mile run or we're on the track. Now it's a lot more planned. Like we have tempos, we have easy days. Like everything is more geared. Now us was just like, just go. Try to beat your teammates every single day. And whoever makes it at the end of the year is the one who is left standing. Now everything's planned. I mean, it's better now, I would say. I mean, kids are running faster and like and kids now care so much about diet and supplements. Like I went to McDonald's every day. Like I didn't know, you know,
I don't think I brought a water bottle to events.
Right.
Or
I don't remember ever.
I didn't bring water to practice. I know
my mom might have brought one for me, but I certainly did not bring it.
Yeah. I saw a kid in Indiana.
In school.
Yeah, I saw a kid in Indiana literally lose a state cross country title because he went and stopped his watch, and the kid came by him and out leaning.
Yeah, listen,
That's crazy.
Every kid has to be on Strava. It's everything. It's like every run is like every interval that we do practice, that they're all got the hand on the watch, and then as soon as they stop,
I remember, and we can get we can have a long conversation about our individual problems with the NJSIAA over the years.
There's a lot.
But when we were in school, we weren't allowed.
Watches were banned. Oh my God, yes.
No jewelry. Couldn't wear watches. Yeah.
I remember I was at the state sectional meet, and Central Regional had a good runner named Chris McNish. He was good. And he got disqualified because he had on a watch at the section. And it wasn't like any fancy watch that we have now. It was like a Casio. Like, so like, did it really help him? Like, did it really help him? Probably not. But that was one of the rules. I remember like, you could not have a watch. I mean, but like, even my coach was old school. Like we didn't have heart rate monitor. I mean, they were starting to come out. I was there, the ones that you wear across your chest and you have the watch, but like, no, we didn't use them. I mean, now everything is like, Strava, like the watches now, like certain runs, like coaches want them at like certain heart rates, and like we just went all out.
Yeah, I saw this girl started on a relay leg, and I'm like, I don't get this at all.
That's
I don't understand.
beyond. That's over.
And that was.
How do you get the baton? Like, do you grab the baton first, or do you start your watch first? Like,
and honestly, I think that was even before Strava. That was back like in 2013. So I don't know what was going on in her head. Like she didn't trust the timers or something.
Well, I mean, because like,
or the coach.
Everything now is like you watch. We have this girl in Jersey named Blair Bartlett. She's unbelievable. She ran a 9:42 this indoors. Right?
That's great.
But like
crazy,
you watch her run. Every lap is looking at the watch. You know, it's like they just.
It's a lot.
It's what they do now. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hurting them.
No, it's not.
But yes.
We sound like a bunch of old guys, you know.
But I mean, so we've already covered watches we don't like. We've covered how Holmdel Park has changed since we were young.
You brought that up, though.
Well, we should. The one thing is funny because I see how my son trains with his team, and they have their watches and they have Strava and they have all that stuff, and they're not as overwhelmed with it as some teams are maybe.
Right.
But I remember a lot of stuff we did, growing up was based on feel. Mark would have us tape our watches over.
Yeah.
And we'd start the watch and start it at the end, stop it at the end of the workout. So we'd have a cumulative time of the workout, but we weren't allowed to look at splits. So we'd do, what I guess would be like a tempo run these days, or a threshold run maybe, where we'd start doing, we called it a 2-mile push, where we'd go and run 8 laps on the track, tape over your watch. You're not allowed to look at splits, just run as fast as you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jim Nielsen, by the end of his senior year, that was part of our morning run. He'd go and he'd be running, 9:15.
I was barely getting through my morning runs.
I'm like, that's a little crazy. But that was it. And we weren't, so a big part of it was sort of getting to instill that pace and time and sense of in your brain, and not being reliant on the watch. Right. So, I don't know if that's good or bad or
yeah. It's fun.
It's just how it is. Oh, of course it's what I'm talking about. So Andy, so you go to Virginia, and then, but you stayed in the sport. You got involved with the USATF. You got involved with the BOLDERBoulder. How'd you get involved with those, and tell us kind of what your role was there?
Yeah. So, gosh, it kind of goes back again to my father. Started a race in Clinton called the Sprint in Clinton, 5-miler. I think the first year might have been 4.7, but who was counting back then? And that was 79. And so I was 12, 13 or so. And I just loved being part of the administration of what he was doing, and going out and setting up the course and putting out the cones and figuring out the finish line and where the start's going to be. And so I just, at a sort of an early age, I really enjoyed the administrative part of the sport. And I don't know if you would so much call it marketing at that point, but just putting on events. And so that was 79. And after Brad's mother passed away, we did a memorial 10,000 meter on the track race in her memory. Lyle, you may have run.
I did.
Yeah, 100 Central.
I did not finish because it was like 1,000,000 degrees. But I remember running.
And it was a lot of laps. But I just
get confused after 4.
Right. Yeah. You're a miler. Yeah. So I got that off the ground, and that went on for a couple of years, and just kind of organizing, and whether it was local events or whatever, just, I don't know, there was just something about it that I really, really enjoyed. So fast forward, after college, we come back to Clinton, Lebanon. My wife and I got married the fall after we graduated from college. And my dad was kind of, the Sprint Clinton race was still going on. He was still doing it, but he was kind of tired of doing it.
Sure.
So my wife and I took it over for a couple of years, and again, just enjoyed doing that. And we were able to grow it from like 300 runners to like 600 runners, and just making sort of incremental improvements to the race. And we finished on the property, the Red Mill, which was really cool. You came across the bridge. So just doing things like that. Then in 98, I'm sorry, 93 or 94, I got my master's degree at East Stroudsburg in sports management.
I went to East Stroudsburg as a freshman.
Okay, we may have been there at the same time. So
97-ish, I was there. 96, 97.
I was there before you. I was there in 91 or 2, actually. But long story short, it took me
Coach
6 years.
Joe Koch.
Yep. It took me about 6 years to finish my master's degree. That's a whole nother story. But we had started a family at that point. I needed an internship, and USATF New Jersey was really getting up and going at that time in the early 90s. A gentleman by the name of Jim Sedlitsky, who ran at Rutgers.
Yep.
He was a year older than me. He was the managing director of the New Jersey Association. And I called him up. We had just had Connor, so it was probably 93. and I asked him if I could do an internship there. And again, the bug kind of hit me for that administrative part of it. And Jim was doing wonderful things in New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey, if it's not the best, it's one of the top 2 or 3 associations in the country. I mean, the long distance running Grand Prix that Jim was part of starting up, there's nothing like it in the country. I mean, there's like hundreds of races in that Grand Prix, and the way they pulled the sport together in New Jersey was fascinating. And I was just really in awe of what he did and what they were doing. And so fast forward about 5 or 6 years later, this is 98. Jim was offered a job with the Big East Conference. He eventually became number 2 or 3 at the Big East Conference, but he asked me if I'd be interested in the position when it came open, being the managing director for New Jersey. And I was getting really burnt out with the screen printing business. We had done it for about 8-9 years, and the time had just come for me to do something else. So it was a good time for me to move in to a different position. So I took this job with USATF New Jersey, managing director for about 1.5 years. And it was a wonderful job, but man, it was all consuming. I mean,
Sure.
we had an office in Highland Park in the bottom of a apartment building, no windows. And man, I was there at like 5 a.m, and I would leave about 7 p.m. Never left, so dark all the time,
Right.
depressing, but I was just like wired in, man. I was like taking what they did, and I just wanted to take it to the next level. And did that for about 1.5 years, and then was offered a position with USATF at the national office in the beginning of 2000. So that was a tough one because, we grew up in New Jersey. We were living 3 miles from both of our parents. We had now at that point 3 children. Our daughter was just born in February of 2000. And quite frankly, the pay wasn't great at the job in Indianapolis, but boy, I saw an opportunity. Sure. And it was my passion. And Craig Masbach was the CEO, sure. And yes, I respected Craig a lot. So it was a fairly new position, if not a new position. It was basically the liaison to the local associations around the country. So my job was going to be to help support them in their jobs, create programs, create member benefits for members. And the second part of that job was overseeing the membership department. And there was a lot of change going on at that time. The internet was coming of age. So, we were going, Lyle, you'll remember the 3-part AAU TAC membership applications, right?
I remember AAU turning to TAC, then AAU, and the fight between them, and then USATF kind of emerging out of that.
Yeah, so I was
being just confused by it all. So with you, I mean, when I look at you, I think of because people talk about this in other sports too. They talk about this idea of growing the sport.
Yeah,
and it seems to me like a lot of them don't really understand what's required to do that.
No,
and what you're doing is you don't grow it from the top down. You grow it from the people who want to participate out.
Sure.
Yeah, and the struggle with that is there's 55 associations now. There used to be 57, but the problem with that is, other than New Jersey and maybe 2 other associations, they're all volunteers. There's no paid staff.
Right.
So you're working on fumes basically, and volunteers that are turning over, volunteers that have their motives for being in their positions.
Sure.
So that's really the struggle with growing it from the ground up is people, right? Is people. So that was my job, was to try to get the people thinking about the organization and the sport and not about them. Right. So,
it's hard.
It was really hard. And when I came in, we were sort of phasing out those 3-part membership applications. We had our database in a Excel file, or what was that database? Microsoft.
I remember.
You remember? You don't hear about it anymore. Anyway, so but what was fortunate was right about that same time we hired a young kid coming out of Dartmouth that was really tech savvy. And we worked together. We spent hours and hours in the Einsteins in downtown Indianapolis, just mapping out what the membership database and what the online functionality was going to look like, because it wasn't a matter of people putting in their information and giving you $20, right, via credit card. It was, you had to figure out the rules and the club affiliation rules. And there's 57 associations. And how do you let the California Association just see their part of the membership database versus New Jersey? So it was fast, because I had no tech savvy. I wasn't tech savvy at all, but we worked really well together. And I think we were a really good team, and we were able to make a lot of
improvements
to what was happening at that time within USA Track and Field. Long story short, I'm there 12 years. I came in as manager of associations and membership, and ended up as director of grassroots programs. Sadly, my boss had been killed in a car accident about 5 years in, and I took over in that position, which incorporated the youth. Crazy. That's a crazy group. And the politics involved with that.
Oh, yeah.
And did it for 12 years, put my heart and soul into it. Moved our 3 kids out there. My wife, when I, told her about the position, she's like, where the hell's Indianapolis? Like, where's Indiana? Like, she's like, and then we drive out to do an interview, and maybe flew out, but our daughter's like 5 months old, and my wife drops me off in front of the RCA Dome. She's thinking it's like New York City, and somebody's going to come up and mug her or something. And little does she know, Indianapolis is like the greatest city. I mean, it's just, there's no crime. It's just awesome. So 12 years there, and then similar to the screen printing thing, I got really burnt out. I mean, again, I can remember being in some Denny's at 3:30 in the morning, just trying to get my day going, and burnout. And Craig had left by this point. We were on our second CEO. And I just was like, I got to do something else. 3 kids, 1 in college, and I just quit cold turkey without knowing what I was going to do. Wow. But it probably saved my life too, right? So, and my marriage and my family. So, and then from there, I saw a need, and Lyle saw some of this in the last couple of weeks, but I saw this need at the association level for these associations that didn't have paid staff to help them on a consulting type basis. So we currently work with 7 associations around the country, doing marketing, communications, a little bit of event management. We do award celebrations at the end of the year for a couple of our clients. Lyle has been to the ones here in Colorado the last 2 years, and really just trying to connect the community, provide some member benefits to the members, and try to make the associations more relevant than they would be without our services. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that was my life for the last 20 years.
Before we get into Boulder, I'm being a slacker, and we have some comments that I have to get to. First one is, Lyle, do you know this person?
I do. That's my better half.
There you go. Then we have Alex coming back. I assume this is when we were talking about how fast North Hunterdon ran with all those guys under 16, and it's absolutely. And then Heather came back about something with, especially in the Boulder. I wish that I got these earlier, guys. I'm sorry, I was so involved in the conversation.
Well, Heather, it's funny. Heather lived out here we're in the Boulder area, in Boulder in her 20s, and we have since moved here in the last few years. And she remembers going to the Boulder as a spectator and cheering on people and all that kind of stuff. And last year, thank you, Andy Martin. My son ran the BOLDERBoulder for the first time and had a ball. And so we all went to that, even in the rain, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
So it's really a top-notch event.
I'm sure.
As was, by the way, the Colorado USATF awards event was just great fun. And I'll just add this in, again, sort of the growing the sport, making the connections kind of a thing. Because you have, real established pros as part of the awards event. And the people getting the awards are everything from masters down to junior runners. And so they're there meeting these folks. You had Sage Hurdeklecker was the keynote speaker. Awesome. You had Alan Culpepper was the MC. And it's like, last year you had a few other people there. It was, and
Drew Hunter was the keynote.
Drew Hunter was the keynote last year. And Yared Nagus was there.
Yeah.
And so
it's gotta be cool
with all these guys and meet them and talk to them a little bit. And it really gets an energy going. That you can't get any other way, really.
And it was pretty cool, Dave. Robbie Andrews was there as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So we got a photo.
He's married to Josette, so I was just texting with his dad now because he's my boss for my youth running program. Big Bob Andrews.
Yeah. So we got a picture of Robbie, Lyle, and myself,
cool.
And 800, 1600, 3200 meet champions. Now I will say, I'm sure Robbie doesn't even think of that anymore, but to me and Lyle, that's a big deal.
Robbie is extremely proud. We had him on the show once, and then we had him and Josette on together. They are both extremely proud of winning the New Jersey Meet Champs. It's something that they say is still one of their biggest things is winning that meet.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. We should have Josette in that picture.
Yeah, I mean, she also had a chance.
Missed opportunity.
So
we should.
A few more questions. I think this one is in reference to the story that you talked about Brad being out in the middle of the school day doing workouts. So can you imagine if a kid tried to skip out during the school day not to do a workout? So can you imagine looking out the window? Brad, you're supposed to my class. I got 4 more 400s. Hold on. I'll be able to.
Dave, like you said, it was a different time. So we went back for our 40th high school reunion this fall. That's weird saying that. But and they gave us a tour of the school, and they were, showing us the cameras and how the doors lock automatically behind you, and if you go out the door, and I just remember, like, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, like, we had the same exact schedule our senior year. Like, we literally had all 5 of our classes together. Wow. Well, in the middle of the day, we had like a period where we had like 2 hours off, and we would just walk out to the parking lot and go home and make lunch and watch Days of Our Lives, So.
Now it's like, I don't know. All right. So we have a few more. We have this one for you, Andy, from Sharon Sidleski.
Yeah.
Sorry. It says, Andy, do you remember when you interned with Jim at USATF?
Yeah. And I just talked about that. So that probably came in before I mentioned that. But yeah, that was Jim was, even though Jim was only a year older than me, Jim was a wonderful mentor. And Jim was so meticulous. He would show me how to, on checks, how to write the number 8. So it was legible. And I still do it to this day. 2 circles.
2 circles.
So I bet you Sharon.
Don't go this way. Don't go that way.
You don't do that.
No. You got to go 2 circles.
And that's Sharon Ahern Sidleski.
Who went to Burners
with me. He was in my class.
She also came back with Love the Sprint and Clinton.
Yeah. and Sharon's twin sister Karen went to UVA with me. So
that's right.
World.
That's right.
And then she has one more. It says, amazing job, Andy. And then she said, oh my God, he still is. This one just happened now. So I bet you're talking about him being very, very meticulous.
You need to bring Sharon on and tell Jim Sidlitsky stories. I bet you there's a lot of them.
What's really cool, and I don't know, I have to think this happens in other states as well. But what's interesting is so Andy lived out here in Boulder. We moved out here a few years ago, and we met up. We got together, And then last spring that
Yeah.
Ron Faith was in town.
Yeah.
Another Meet of Champions cross country winner.
Yep.
And we met up for at one of the breweries out here and had lunch. And it seems like all the stories, all the New Jersey stuff, there's this connection of, we all kind of tread a lot of the same dirt at one point or another. And so it's I always say that these are my most comfortable people I'm around.
And with Ron, so talk about different times. For my junior and senior year after Meet of Champions in cross country, I had a party at my house.
Nice.
And the state was invited. And my father was a judge. And there was a lot going on that nowadays he would probably have lost his job. So,
yeah.
I mean, and they knew there was drinking going on down in the bay, but the Paul VI guys from down in South Jersey, I'm not exactly sure where Paul VI is, but it's somewhere down there. They came up for that party both years and stayed overnight. And so, to Lyle's point, we fought like heck on the course, but man, we were friends other than the CBA guys. So
yeah, the CBA guys,
they were not invited to that party.
We got two more questions in here. We have one from Heather, which I think is the best question the best comment we've ever had on this show. Let's have everyone out here to Colorado to visit. We will host and go live with Talking in Ovals. Let's do it.
Well,
let's do it.
Let's do that on Boulder weekend.
Well, speaking of which, I to segue that, we have Alex coming in here with a question. It says, we had Cliff Bosley on the show a while back. We love Boulder. So tell us how you got involved in Boulder. Cliff was awesome on this show. He was such a great guy. And, he was just so enthusiastic about this event. And seeing it from afar, it looks like an extremely well-run meet that's just so fun. And you get some big time people there. So how did you get involved in this, and what do you do for
Cliff is the race director. He's really the CEO, but he calls himself the race director and meticulous. Yep.
This is a gift from Cliff.
Yep, exactly. And Boulder, for those that don't know about Boulder, is the third largest running race in the United States, only behind the New York and Chicago marathons. Last year we had 45,324 finishers. And we had about 52,000 people that registered. Between the rain and just normal no-shows, you lose about 10%. This year we're trending at about 5% above that. So we're looking at possibly 54 to 55,000 people registering.
Incredible.
Wow.
It was started in 1979, co-founded by Cliff's father, Steve Bosley, and Frank Shorter. And the first year had 2,000 runners, and they have just put things into place that were ahead of their time.
It just looks fun. It looks like a great time.
Yeah, the wave start. They invented the wave start. I saw this year Boston was talking about going from 4 to 6 waves. We have 95 waves. And every wave gets the call to the what's the Kentucky Derby? Call to the start.
Oh, like
bugle, the bugle. Call to the post. Call to the post. Every one of those 95 waves gets a call to the post.
So everyone feels like they're they're important, special. That's great.
Yep.
When we had on Cliff, I was just we pulled up a video of Conor Mantz winning. Just the crowd, it was electric. Just so
what's really unique about Boulder is that we have a Memorial Day tribute that is the concluding event in front of 40,000 people. It's on Memorial Day. We honor those that have fallen, and it's about a half hour long. And at the end, there's skydivers that carry the flags of each military branch, and then the final flag that comes in is the American flag. And if you can think about Folsom Field, CU's football stadium, the Flatirons in the background, and the skydivers coming in with these flags. Lyle, you didn't see that last year because of the rain. We didn't have the skydivers, but everything else that goes on with the Memorial Day tribute, it brings tears to your eyes.
Sure.
I mean, it is so touching.
Yeah. It's a really special event.
Yeah.
It really is.
If you don't know what Memorial Day is about, when you leave there's something wrong with you. So, but what's really cool, 95 waves go off, 50,000 people. They all get to finish inside Folsom Field, this football stadium. The last wave or start to go off is the professional races. So, and the professional races are unique in that they're country-based team competition. So there's 3 athletes from each country. We typically have Kenya, Ethiopia, obviously United States, Mexico. We'll have a really good Japanese men's team this year. And they start last. Okay. So what that means is they come into a stadium of 40,000 people that are going nuts. Yeah. And when Connor Mance came into that stadium last year,
what a race. It
was off the charts. And there's some video that's out there that went viral. Connor Mance has taken what we've been doing for 40, 60 years with the race and just taken it to a new level for us. And the reason he's done that, so the last 262 meters is on the floor of the stadium. He has never hit the floor in the lead, and he's won it 3 times.
Right.
All 3 times.
It was really exciting. It really
he has hit the floor in 2nd place. And not only that, if people haven't watched his last kilometer from last year, go find the last kilometer of last year's race. It'll blow you off.
Awesome. Yep.
It's what he did and how he came back. And the guy he beat finished 2nd in the World Cross Country Championships in January. Right. So he was no slouch.
So we have one more question here from CBA coach Carl Torchia, and I think it's probably the best comment that we've had yet. It says, Andy, what is the story with all the bottles behind you? Are they from the party that you threw in high school?
All right. So about 15 years ago, my wife told me I needed to get a hobby. About 6 months after that, I went down to Louisville and did a tour of one of the distilleries. And I just fell in love with the culture of bourbon. And that's one of my hobbies now. I found some others, but it's all bourbon. And the one bottle is Old Granddad. I've got 3 grandchildren, and on their birthdays, we all have a drink for their birthday. The bottle next to that, which is Elijah Craig 18, about 10 years ago, after my daughter graduated high school, we were down there and we decided that myself, my 2 boys, and my father would all pitch in $50 and buy a $200 bottle of Elijah Craig. And we held it for the next 8 years until she got married last August, and then we opened it up and drank it. So, cool. So yeah, it's the culture. It's me getting a hobby, and I thank my wife for all that.
We got
the kids, and the hobby, the bourbon hobby.
We got another comment here from Lau's wife again. It says, "It's a beautiful event and got even better with time. I ran this 35 years ago. It's even more fun to participate now." It's crazy that you got 50,000. Yeah, I mean the Connor Mance ending is absolutely special last year. It was just so. I mean, like I just can't imagine being in that crowd and like just seeing just that. It's
so you want to hear another crazy story about Connor Mance last
Absolutely.
Year? So we had a $1,000 preem for hitting a certain. It was about 2 kilometers on the course. It was tied into a sponsorship. It was called First to Folsom. Folsom's the main road that leads up to CU. And so we created this preem for $1,000, and they go through the mile in 4:21, and he starts putting the hammer down, and he wins the preem.
Hey, that's
and I'm like, that's just nuts. Like, who does that? Like, you know. And so at the press conference, one of my jobs with BOLDERBoulder is to run the pre-race and post-race press conference. I'm like, did you come in like looking to win that $1,000? He's like, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I didn't know Prefontaine.
Listen,
I
we
know
always talk.
I know the stories of Prefontaine. Connor Mance is the nicest version of Prefontaine you're ever going to find, and the new one I think is
Marco
Wolf.
Langdon, or
Parker Wolf. Parker Wolf is the
Parker
next.
Wolf, yeah.
I think Marco Langdon too has some Prefontaine in him.
Well, yeah, he's very edgy. Yeah,
yes, he's a Jersey boy.
Somerset County. Yeah,
he's a Jersey boy. I mean,
Yeah.
That's it.
He's running great. Listen, he's
amazing. Yeah,
he's had amazing. Some, he's had some things go on in his life, and he just doesn't care. He's like, I'm just going to run fast, try to win.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I think maybe it's a little too much at times, but but by far, he is my team's favorite athlete. Like the kids like him.
He's totally authentic.
He's 100% authentic.
I love it. About the three guys you just mentioned, they are who they are.
Yep.
And you got to love that. I mean, that's
absolutely.
It's really just, attractive about that.
Yeah. And Parker Wolf went to UNC, and
he was great.
I sort of had the same detest for UNC for a long time because I went to UVA. But I got over that a couple years ago when I met a couple of the former basketball players at a Junior Olympic Track Nationals, and their kids were competing, and they were like 6'8", and I'm like talking to them, and nicest guys in the world. And I just had to say, okay, I'm done with the UNC hatred. So.
This is what happens. You have the CBA chip on your shoulder. Who are these guys? Kinds of things. Yeah. I went to an Adidas running camp in Connecticut one summer for like 5 days or whatever, and I got there just to kind of get out of Burnsville for a few days, and there's this whole team of CBA guys there. And I'm like, oh crap, what's going to go on? What are they going to do to me? And
what are they going to do to me?
And so I met him and we hung out, and it was
super nice guy. Yeah.
It was Bill Kolb and Jim Hickey and some of the other guys, Tony Mealy and some of these other guys I met. And
Bill Barrett
was there. I
got a Bill Barrett story.
I liked them all. I liked them all. We played volleyball and hung out and all this stuff. And then, I came back and went back to training at the Burners High School at the every evening. And I told my teammates this, and they didn't believe me.
Somewhat similar. I went to Bucknell running camp for a number of years, and at one point there was a course, Appalachia they called it, and it was an 8 or 9 mile course, and it was sort of the pinnacle of the week, and it basically became a race, right? And Brad's there, the CBA guys are there. There, Chris Fox. Do you remember that name at all?
Yeah.
Chris was, I don't know, 4th in the Olympic trials. Bill Reef Snyder, and Brad just takes it out, like literally. I mean, we're probably going he's probably going 5-minute pace the first couple miles. I mean, because he doesn't want anything part of CBA,
right?
And CBA guys finally fall off, and it was probably like the best run I've ever had. Like, finally, I dropped Brad, and it was just me, Chris Fox, and Bill Reef Snyder. Like, these guys are running like low 28s, high 27s, right? And I could feel they're barely hanging on too. And I mean, just the best run I've ever had. Well, we're going up this hill, and I look over, and a car pulls up, and Brad's in the car. He had dropped out of the damn time trial, or whatever.
Kicks it out and then drops out.
Yeah. But Bill Kolb ended up being my teammate at UVA, and
that's right. I forgot that. Yeah.
So
Bill's a nice guy. I like Bill.
I went from staring him down at South Plainfield while we were warming up to being teammates and friends. But Bill Barrett shows up one day at our track house, and he walks in the door, and we didn't talk. I just kind of looked at him. He looked at me. We didn't talk at all. So that we didn't ever became friends, but I'm sure he's the nicest guy in the world. So.
Well, listen, but I mean, like, you don't not like a program because they're not good. It's almost like you respect them, but they're so good. You're like, you just get frustrated because they're hard to beat. So.
But the truth is, back then they were just getting started. They won, I want to say, in 1980, right before you guys won your first.
We had more dual meet wins than they did.
Yeah,
until we lost one.
Yeah.
They still haven't lost one.
They won in 80, but they didn't
It's like
win
400 something meets or something like that. It's the longest dual
insane.
meet streak in the country. It's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't win until, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s. Right. So there was that gap, and I can still remember the parochial A race, that 83 year, and watching, you know, somehow they figured out who won, and you realize Paul VI had won, and we were all like, yeah.
Oh, well, Ron Faith had some stories about elbows, and
I'm sure. Well, yeah,
I actually want to before we go, because we could go on all night. Yeah. I just want to bring it back a little bit to high school, because you for a while had the Holmdel record, right?
I did. Yeah,
1534.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, the number was 1516. That was like the time that, like, when you ran 1534, did you think someone would run 1516? And now, like, the fact that there's multiple people who have run under 15 minutes there, just trying to explain, because I didn't think anybody would ever beat. I was talking to a Lambert today about this. I'm like, we didn't think anybody would ever beat that record of 1516. So how impressed were you when you heard that someone ran 1516 there? Because I know I was blown away.
I knew when I ran 1535 it wouldn't last very long, but I thought, 1528, 1525, right? So, I was in college when DeJoseph ran his 1516. I don't even remember how I found out, right? We didn't have cell phones. No. I don't know how I found out, but I was like, whoa, that's fast. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and that record stood until
Flores.
Yes. Or was Ches
Flores
beat by a couple tenths, I think.
Flores like 1550, but there was a big debate because Flores was FAT, the Joseph was more handheld, so they were trying to figure out exactly where it went.
Yeah,
and then so that was 15.
Do you round up? Yeah,
do you round up because every other time they would just round up, so it would have been 1516 flat or whatever. It would have been similar. And then Ches comes along and breaks 15, and then the Rosa brothers. Oh my God!
I think the Rosas broke it first. Actually,
yeah, we had their coach on 2 weeks ago. I mean, it was
that was a great episode.
I mean,
that was terrific.
Yeah, I messaged Kurt and told him, like, how much I respected what they do as coaches.
Sure, they were great. They were great.
Yeah, and the programs, and I get South and North mixed up all the time and who ran where, but
it was cool how like they were opposite, but they were so close, and they both rooted for each other.
Yeah, I don't remember if Roses were North or South, or Brian Lewing was North or South. But
they were opposite schools.
Yeah. So,
so
funny story about Brad Hudson and Brian Lewing. So Brad was driving Uber out here in Boulder a couple years ago, and Brian Lewing ends up getting in to the car.
What a random thing
is Brad's ride. They just get to talking, New Jersey, blah blah, Holmdel, and Brad's like, "Oh, what's your best at Holmdel?" Thinking, he probably had a better time, and he goes, 1530, and Brad's like, "What? Like, what are you? Who are you?"
No, but it's funny because like 1516 still wins almost every year. There haven't been many people who have done it. I mean, I just remember being a freshman and running like 1840, like, how the hell did someone run 1516 on this course? It's fascinating.
Yeah. And then Marco ran under 1510, and then is it Barma, yeah,
some of that.
So it's amazing. It's amazing what these kids are doing. And when Holmdel first had its kind of renovation and the cinders went down and all that, I felt like that had a lot more impact on the fast times.
100%.
Yeah.
It felt like for a couple years, what they were running at Holmdel wasn't correlating with their times on the track. But within a couple years, it quickly changed. And all of a sudden, they went for, the guys running 1530 and 20 were now running 845, right? Yeah. So it made sense. But in the beginning, it was like, guys that were running like 15:45 were running like 9:15. You
Right.
know, it's something what it didn't jive for a while, but
I also think too, like the amount of teams who go there like every week or on a weekly basis, and I really think there's so many coaches now who have figured out exactly how to train, what part of the course at which time. Like it's become very scientific to like most people don't even do the bull mile; they just work on that first mile because that is the longest. Like the bull mile minus the actual bull isn't bad. It's all flat. You just have that one hill.
So I had two.
It's that first mile that just is
I had two pieces of advice that I received when I was in high school on Holmdel. The first was from Mark Wetmore, Lyle's coach. He said, "Andy, there's a whole nother Van Cortlandt Park on top of that first quarter mile."
Yep.
I was like, okay. So meaning don't go out crazy and don't kill yourself in that first part of that race.
But you also have to.
Yeah, I know. I know. You have to
because it funnels, because it funnels in the woods. So
you have to be in the hunt, but
it's tricky. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
You don't want to be that one who's way out there.
Yeah. The other one was my freshman year. The winner of the MOCs was Tom Fisher.
Oh,
from Alpen.
Yeah,
Alpen. Yep.
And Tom, I don't know how I got his ear, but he said, "Run up the hill in the bowl as slow as you can."
Yep. And then go right after.
And after that, go to the tennis courts
because everybody is recovering after.
Yep.
If you can do that, then they're not going to catch up because you're already ahead.
Yeah. So those were my two pieces of advice, which I always worked well for me for a year or two. So, yeah.
Well, guys, we could do this all night.
This is awesome. Thank you.
It's been absolutely an absolute blast. Like talk about a bucket list for me, talking to two former mid-chance winners that, people that I knew of Lyle and Bernard's because my coach had run for Rosedale Catholic. His brother, Jack O'Leary, had the state record in the mile at Essex Catholic, and Bill knows. So like he was very prominent, and all we heard about for so long was 10 flat point 9 Willingboro and Bernard. So
I was there.
Richie Watson and Carlotti.
It was a hell of a race.
It was like the
it was fascinating. It was
and then being a freshman and going against Brendan Heffernan, I was kind of a student, so I would go back and like, man, North Hunterdon is absolutely amazing. Like so. It's just talking to you guys. I mean, to get to do this show has just been amazing. To talk to guys like yourselves, it's an honor. So thank you guys so much for coming on, and you guys are always welcome anytime.
Dave, thank you very much. Alex, feel better. Lyle, we'll see you soon.
It's been a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, Andy.
Yeah.
And Alex, do feel better. And thanks for letting me sit in for you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys. So thank you very much. Again, it's the great North Hunterdon grad, Andy Martin, does so many things for USATF, Boulder, and I can't thank you, Lyle, enough on short notice for coming in and helping me not make a fool of myself. So thank you, guys.
I was just going to tune in and send you questions.
But instead, our regular host tuned in and just asked a question. So all good. All right, everybody out there, thank you so much. Come back next week. We're going to have another